Tonight's show is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Hello, baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. I have a lot to talk about. The Braves coming off the series against Philadelphia. They win the series after losing game one. We're going to talk about it all tonight, but before we do, please do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so that you can stay up to date with everything going on here at On Deck, and of course, with your Atlanta Braves, who have been quite busy here lately. Of course, as I mentioned, we're just coming off a series with the Phillies, and boy, was this a good one. I was actually in attendance for the game today, hence why we're having such a late show. So thank you to those out there that are watching this live. If you're watching it on the replay, I can't even say I blame you. It's really late right now, and we're not going to be here too long tonight, maybe about an hour, because I got to get a little bit of sleep tonight. So, again, the Braves do win the series here 2-1. They fall in game one. Let's talk about that for a second. Philadelphia would win this game 8-6. Fried giving up 5 runs on 11 hits. Very unusual for Max Fried. Phillies fans would tell you that it is very usual for him when it comes to Philadelphia. But what I would say is this, out of all three of the guys who pitched, whether it be Fried, Schwellenbach, or Reynaldo Lopez today, Fried is the one that these batters have the most experience with. He's the one that they've seen the most. Schwellenbach and Reynaldo Lopez are virtually unknowns to a lot of these guys playing. But it is what it is. You chalk it up to a loss. You had multiple errors that, had not happened. You would have been a lot closer in the game and had a lot better chance to win. Fortunately, that was not the case. But you move on from that. You go to game two, and you got Spencer Schwellenbach on the mound. Now, I got to be honest with you. After game one's loss, I was a little skeptical that the Braves were going to be able to pull this one out because Schwellenbach has been so up and down. Reynaldo Lopez, has been consistent, but even so, I was really concerned about Schwellenbach because, again, he's young. It's nothing to do with his potential or his talent. It has everything to do with his experience. He just doesn't have a lot of it. And he proved me wrong. He threw 6 innings. He did give up 7 hits, but he scattered them enough to only give up 1 run. He made a couple of great defensive plays, not to be outshined by A.J. Minter. But no, I thought he pitched very well. He looked a lot more like a veteran than I think a lot of people expected, especially against a team like Philadelphia. Hopefully that will be the case as we move forward with Schwellenbach. And of course, we have a lot of options here that could be coming around soon. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But no, I thought Spencer Schwellenbach looked absolutely, really completely different from some of the other times we've seen him in this game. So yeah, game two went very well for Atlanta. Of course, they would win that game 5-1. You think that sounds good? Try 6-0. That's what happened today. Game three, the Braves do win it in a shutout fashion. They not only win the game, but they win the series with this victory. Reynaldo Lopez, 6 innings pitched, only giving up 2 hits, no runs at all. And boy, was the long ball active today. All of a sudden, Adam Duvall can hit righties. I can't believe it. 108 off the bat. And I'll tell you, as a guy who was there, who heard it, it was definitely 108 off the bat. It sounded like it. It looked like it. I talked to some guys that were out on Hank Aaron Terrace. I have a buddy who was there who texted me, and it was whizzing past them. It sounded like it was moving very, very fast. So you had that happen. You had Jared Kelenic come up and have a big 3-run bomb to put the Braves up 4-0. Matt Olson would hit a solo shot. Keep in mind, this is all in the second inning. And then later on in the 6th, freshly called up Eli White all of a sudden gets hot with his bat. He hits a homer as well. So a lot to be excited about in game 3, rightfully so. This is the one where the offense seemed to really break out. But I got to say, even in game 2, the Braves were scoring early. They had runs in the first inning. Ozzie Albies was very prolific with his bat. He had a double. He had a homer. He looked very good. So all in all, when you look at this series, it could have went really bad. It very well could have, especially after the Braves lost game 1. But they battled back. The offense was there in game 2 and 3, and all of a sudden, we are sitting here talking about how good of a series this is. There's still a lot of things to do, a lot of work to be done. The Braves are still 8 games back in the division, but I will say this. Had this series gone the other way, had Philly had won this series or even swept this series, we'd be having a completely different conversation right now. But I still think that, frankly, this division can be won. The head-to-head matchups have shown me that the Braves can compete with Philadelphia, at least head-to-head. And all I got to say is, look, you put these two at their best against each other, I think that it's a toss-up in a lot of ways. But I think the Braves are still competitive. I think they can still win this division. And if you don't believe me, just consider the fact that the Braves have 7 games left against Philadelphia. And all in all, if the Braves can win most of those games, which right now they've won 4 out of the 6 they've played, if they can continue on that trend, you're talking about half the lead gone, and then it's just getting hot at the right time. So we'll see what happens. Again, a lot of work to be done for the Braves, but they do get 1 game back after this series. They are now 8 games back as opposed to the 9 or 10 they got to after the loss in Game 1. It's really all you can ask them to do is to win the series ahead of them. Now they head to Arizona. And they got a 4-game series out there. All of those, by the way, are night games, hence why we're doing this tonight, because I am not staying up till 2 in the morning to do a live stream. But again, it's going to be a lot of fun to see them against Arizona. We're going to see our old friend Jock Peterson out there. I know a lot of you guys are hoping that maybe something happens. I doubt it, but we'll see. But no, all in all, I thought the series was really, really good. I thought it was not necessarily a turning point, and I'll tell you why I say that. Because Snickers said it. He was asked today, hey, look, there's been times that this offense has heated up and, we think that it's going to turn a corner and be what it was in 2023. Do you see that now in what we've seen this weekend against Philly? And Snit flat out said, no, there's no difference. There's no change. These guys are pros. They do the same thing every day. They perform to the same level. They try their best every single day. So, is it a turning point? I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a battle this year, more so than last. I will say that it was very hot out there today, and the ball was flying. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's a matter of just the Braves are heating up. The Braves had a chip on their shoulder with Philadelphia. Who knows? Either way, we're happy it happened because 4 homers later, and the Braves win this series. Again, guys, thank you for watching here tonight. Really do appreciate it. We're not going to be on forever. We're going to be on for about 45 minutes to an hour. I know it's late. I know I got you guys watching late. I appreciate to those of you that are watching this live. And again, to those of you watching on the replay, thank you for watching as well. But if you would do us a favor, if you are watching live, please do like the video. It really does help the channel out. And of course, if you have not already, please do subscribe to the channel, as we would love for you to be a part of the On Deck community. When we get back, we're going to talk about where the Braves go from here and can they win the NL East.
Are you ready to save big on a new GMC?
At Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, you can own one of the best-selling vehicles in the USA. The GMC Sierra pickup is discounted up to $14,500 off. The roomy and comfortable GMC Terrains are up to $8,250 off. And the GMC Acadias with 3 spacious rows and seating for 7, discounted up to $8,000 off. At Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika,
Get ready to smile. Are you ready to save big on a new Chevrolet?
make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox, discounted up to $6,500 off. The powerful Chevy Silverados are up to $13,750 off. And the big Chevy Silverado 2500 HTs are discounted up to $6,000 off. Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
I asked this question last week. Can the Braves still win the National League East division? Being that they were 9 games back. I did a video on it. Some of you probably watched it. But the question still remains. Can they do it? Mathematically speaking, yes, it's still possible. And therefore, we're going to talk about what they need to do to make that happen. And when I say it's possible, I think there's a good possibility. I don't think it's a shot in the dark. I think the Braves, again, will have work to do and have to put their head down and make stuff happen. But when I was asked about what is the way that the Braves can win the division, I answered with head-to-head matchups. And we've seen the Braves now twice face the Phillies, not only at home, but also on the road. And the Braves have beaten them flat out. They beat them once in Philadelphia, 2 out of 3, and now they've beaten them 2 out of 3 at home. So the Braves currently have won 4 out of the 6 games between themselves and Philadelphia. If they can continue on that trend, that will help them cut this lead in half at least. And from there, what you hope for is that, hey, you can keep pace better than what you have already. And what I will say is this, there's been a lot of talk about injured players over the past week. Philadelphia has gotten some injured players here lately, a lot of which did not play in this series. I'm sure you heard it on the national broadcast. I'm sure you heard it tonight. Kyle Schwarber out, Bryce Harper out, JT Realmuto out. All those guys are out. The Braves have had their fair share, if not more, this season with injured players. Ronald Acuna, of course, Spencer Strider, Michael Harris, who, by the way, I had a conversation with him. He's happy to be there and happy to be supporting the team. But either way, the Braves and Phillies, either way, they're very even right now in terms of injured players based on who can play. Now, the Braves have gotten the tougher end of the road with the fact that Strider and Acuna are out for the season. No doubt about that. But Philly did look a little weaker than they normally do over the past few days. That's not to say that when they do get everybody back that the Braves weren't going to be able to compete with them. I still think that's the case. But they definitely looked weaker than normal. And I think that's just, how couldn't they with missing 3 stars like that? How could the Braves not look a little weaker, as hurt as we've been? Which, by the way, nice to see A.J. Minter back in the fold. He pitched very well last night. And hopefully he'll add some left-handed relief that we've desperately needed. And of course, he's a friendly face to the Braves fans, and of course, he's just nice to have as a weapon in the pen. That was a good sign to see. But all in all, when you look at injuries, when you look at what the Braves have dealt with, that's a big component as to why they have not performed to the level they have so far this year compared to 2023. You look at that year. Virtually no one got hurt, and when they did, it was only temporary. It was not a permanent season-ending injury, very rarely, in fact. The only player that really missed substantial time was Ozzie Albies and Michael Harris in 2023, and all respect to those guys, but the Braves lineup was able to navigate without them. And you lose a guy like Ronald Acuna, you lose Michael Harris for now an extended period of time, on top of losing the former MVP. It's just a matter of adding up the deficits, and the Braves certainly have a lot of them right now. So where do they go from here? Well, I think first you point to the trade deadline, which is later this month, in about 23 days, really 22 if you don't include the next hour and a half. It's not that far away. In fact, I think the Braves are going to be active earlier than the trade deadline like they have in years prior. The reason I know that is because they already have. Eddie Rosario is back, ladies and gentlemen, in AAA. He did hit a triple last night in Gwinnett. I wanted to talk about this move because I know it's going to drive a lot of attention to you guys. Former World Series, former NLCS MVP, just postseason hero, postseason legend in Atlanta now. He's back with the Braves, and we need to talk about it because whether the expectation is high, whether it's low, Eddie Rosario deserves every bit of an opportunity in a Braves uniform, in my opinion, now that he's back. That's not to say that I think Eli White can't perform. That's not to say that I think Forrest Wall can't perform or Duvall can't perform. I think Duvall proved and Eli White proved today that they can perform against anybody. But it's a big one. Eddie Rosario is going to provide you left-handed at-bats that, frankly, Duvall cannot give you. I know Duvall got a homer off a righty today, but his average right now is not good. He should be in a platoon role, in my opinion, and I think the Braves know that, but there's no one to justify putting in over Duvall, even if the righty-lefty matchup doesn't make sense for Adam. So for me, I think Eddie Rosario he's got to get a chance. He's got to be given an opportunity, and I think that's going to happen. We've already seen him in AAA. If he can perform well there, I think it's a matter of time before you see him at the big league level. He's got to prove himself. He's got to prove his worth, which he's done before. When we got him in 2021, he wasn't necessarily gold at the top of your lineup when we got him. He was hurt, number one. He hadn't had the best year of his career, and all of a sudden it became the best year of his career. A lot of people have been giving Alex Anthopoulos, grief over the last few weeks, and I get it. The Braves aren't doing well, and it's always a good time when the team's not doing well to go after the manager, to go after the general manager, to go after the first base coach, the third base coach, the podcaster that talks about him, whatever the case may be. It's a good time to do that. But I will say this. When you look at what Alex Anthopoulos has done with what he has, You can't really argue it. 2021 is the best example I can give. It's by far the best example I can give. But beyond that, you look at this season. You look at the wild card selections this year alone. Marcell Ozuna, who pretty much, I've said it before, went from undesirable to undeniable this year. Chris Sale has had 5-6 years of not good pitching in a Boston Red Sox uniform. You bring him to Atlanta, all of a sudden he's back to form. And Reynaldo Lopez, who was a reliever, and all due respect to him, was not a very good one. You know, he had good moments, but his stats didn't show that he was an elite reliever. You pull him out of that, you put him in the starter role, you stretch him out, all of a sudden he's got the lowest ERA in the game. So for all of you out there that are giving Double-A grief, just remember what he does with what he has. He lack of a better word, sometimes you got to make chicken salad out of chicken, and Double-A is the best at that. And all in all, it's not just Double-A, it's the development system, it's the coaching staff, it's all of it. The entire system has worked at an extraordinary rate to become what it is today. And it does not happen overnight. It does not happen without work. And it does not happen without a figure point and a person to run the helm. And I am of the opinion that Alex Anthopoulos is the one and only guy for that job. I'm glad he's the Braves general manager. He has been phenomenal over the years, and one bad stretch at the beginning of 2024 is not going to make me forget the last 3 to 4 years prior to it. And I believe that the second half of 2024 is going to prove the first half of 2024 wrong. We're only a week and a half, I believe, from the All-Star break. So congrats again to those players that made it to the All-Star game. I was there today. I got to see Marcell Ozuna, Chris Sale, and Reynaldo be told that they're going to be an All-Star. That was nice. We got to speak with them right after. That was really cool. Marcell Ozuna, full of energy. He has become quite the teammate who a lot of folks didn't think, could be. And he has proven them wrong. Reynaldo Lopez has proven so many people wrong this year, including myself. I was very skeptical. I thought Bryce Elder would be given the nod, before Reynaldo Lopez would. I thought it would be a competition, but not a strong one. And boy, was I wrong. Chris Sale, we all know who he's proved wrong. And, at the end of the day, what you look at right now, out of all of who we have in the Braves roster, it's been the guys who have come back and shown, hey, I can still do this, or I can do this, period. It's been a lot of guys who have come back from and faced the odds. And, I look across the roster, there's plenty of talent, but not everybody has the ability to not have the best stuff or go through a hard time in life and come back from it. Not everybody has that. Chris Sale, Marcell Ozuna, Reynaldo Lopez all certainly do. When we get back, we're going to answer your comments, so make sure to get them in. Make sure to get your super chats in. They will get priority. Again, we are not going to be here all night. We're going to be here as long as the comment section takes us, but that will be the end. So make sure to get your comments in, and we'll be right back.
Are you ready to save big on a new GMC?
At Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, you can own one of the best-selling vehicles in the USA. The GMC Sierra pickup is discounted up to $14,500 off. The roomy and comfortable GMC Terrains are up to $8,250 off. And the GMC Acadias with 3 spacious rows and seating for 7, discounted up to $8,000 off. At Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika,
Get ready to smile. Are you ready to save big on a new Chevrolet?
make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox, discounted up to $6,500 off. The powerful Chevy Silverados are up to $13,750 off. And the big Chevy Silverado 2500 HTs are discounted up to $6,000 off. Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everybody. Again, thank you for being here tonight. Really do appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and get to your comments. Let's see. Daniel's here. Harlem PS Gamer is here. Shaquille Oatmeal is here. What a name, by the way. Love that. He says, with the rise of Lopez, we actually have a shot at seriously contending with Sale and Fried in a series. Don't forget about Charlie Morton. You know, I know he's had his ups and downs this year, but that guy in the postseason is just as good as anybody. I feel as if when you look at where we are in, when you look at where we are in the season and the depth needed to complete the season, Charlie Morton is a guy who's very underrated. And, I met him for the first time today and spoke with him for the first time today. Very philosophical guy. Enjoyed talking to him. I think he's one of the best minds and best veterans on the team. I think he could go, possibly, I think he could possibly have another year in him. And he may not want that. I don't know. But, I mean, the stuff is still there. It's undeniable. Why would he not come back and try it again? So that's just my opinion. Let's see. Corey Carter says, I'm feeling Wall, White, and Duvall Rosario platoons coming soon. I think Duvall Rosario is most likely. I like Forrest Wall and Eli White together, possibly. I like those. That could be the case, at least a temporary case, in the sense of you may want to go get a big bat possibly. But we'll see where it goes. Scooter Puff says, maybe the most important series win of the year this weekend. Ozuna seems to be coming out of that slump he was in. Ozzie heating up and Kelnick staying hot. Duvall doing some things too. Yeah, I mean, the entire offense was, was on point to say this weekend. I thought, especially in Game 2 and Game 3. Game 1, you could argue they were too. I mean, they put up 6 runs by the end of the game. Just didn't amount to a win. But all in all, I thought the offense looked a lot better this weekend than I've seen so far this year. And, at the end of the day, that's all you can really ask for, right? Shaquille Oatmeal says, Braves just need Soler and Jocktober to come back, and then we guarantee champions like in 2021. I think ultimately the idea that Jock Peterson and Soler are coming back now that Rosario is back, I knew that was going to strike the fire and all that. I get it. I still think it's very unlikely that either one of those guys come back. If anybody would, I thought it would be Rosario. I said that from the jump because of who he was playing with and because he's not exactly been a great star. I was surprised to see he got DFA'd. I did not expect that. But I did not think that he was necessarily going to be as hard to obtain as a Jock Peterson or a Jorge Soler. As much as I would love for those guys to come back, it's just tough sometimes to expect it. Johnny T says, go Braves from Hawaii. Ian looked good, but need to see more and starting to like Spencer. Of course, he's talking about Spencer Schwellenbach. I see only one trade for a bat. Uncle Jesse is an all-star. I hope so. Unless that's been announced, I don't believe that was what we saw earlier today, unless it came out after I left. Jesse Chavez did not get the pick. Here's what I'm gonna say about Jesse Chavez. Every player in that locker room today was wearing a Chavez 24 shirt, campaigning for Jesse to make it to the All-Star game. I spoke to Jesse earlier today, and his response to this question was pretty good, because I asked him, hey, look, I'm looking around this locker room and I'm seeing everybody wearing a shirt with your face on it, hoping you get into the All-Star game. How does that make you feel? And he's like, look, it's great and all, but I'm not here for the half-season awards. I'm here for the full-season awards. And at the end of the day, I'm more worried about a deep run in October than I am an All-Star game. And that says a lot coming from someone, frankly, of his age, and frankly, what with what he's done in his career, an All-Star game may be a pretty good way to end it, possibly. He's more worried about a deep run in October, and I got to respect that. But at the end of the day, I think Jesse Chavez, whether he's an all-star or not, he's an all-star to the team. He's an all-star to the guys that are in the bullpen, the younger pitchers, and that's all you can really ask for. Thank you, Johnny T, for the super chat. He also says, I'm starting to like Spencer, and I only see one trade for a bat. Maybe only one trade at this point, but we've already made a couple, so it's not really fair to say. Whatever the Braves do, I think we're going to look at and go, yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Robert Blackman, do the Braves have enough to win a championship? I believe so. Maybe not yet, but they will come the deadline. I definitely believe that. New Turbo says Ozzy has been a huge contributor lately. You're absolutely right. Corey Carter, Eddie was brought here in 21 because when the lights are brightest, he is at his best, and that is still the case. I think so too. You know, you get him hot and you get him in the postseason and never look back. Let's see. New Turbo says they only lost 2 good players. It'll take more than that to keep a good team down. He's, of course, talking about the Atlanta Braves. I agree with you. No one's bigger than the team. But losing someone, frankly, losing 2 guys, one of which is the front liner of your rotation and the other of which is the front liner of your offense, that's a tough pill to swallow. And you add in the fact that they're down Michael Harris temporarily at least. They've been down A.J. Minter. They're down Tyler Matzik. They're down. I mean, we can keep going. They've been down a lot more than just those 2 players, which is why I think it's been so hard. Again, guys, we're not going to be on here for too long, maybe another 5 or 10 minutes. We're really going to get out of here soon. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you to Johnny T for the super chat. Greeny says, the stadium looked quite empty today. Was it because it was so hot? Yeah, I would say so. Being in the press box, the left side of the stadium, the Hank Aaron Terrace above it and to the left of it, that's directly in the sun. The outfield, just getting beamed by sunlight. I, for one, was in the press box and away from those heat waves. But a lot of those guys out there, you know, they were finding different places to go, somewhere in the concourse, you know, maybe just finding something else to do. Amidst the stadium, whatever the case may be. A lot of folks just were not entertaining that direct hit by sunlight, and I don't blame them at all, to be honest with you. It was brutal out there, folks. Let's see. Shaquille Oatmeal says, if Strider did not go down, this pitching staff would look unbeatable. It would be unbeatable. It wouldn't look it. It would be unbeatable. I completely agree there. The Mad Monk says, it's crazy how Jesse pitches bad for everyone but us. Yeah, you know, I asked him about, hey, what makes it special? What makes it special about wearing a Braves uniform today? And he told me, he was like, look, you know, it's the culture, it's the people, it's the lifting everybody up. And it made me wonder, what are these other teams doing? Are y'all not lifting each other up? But no, he's definitely got a special relationship with the Atlanta Braves. Corey Carter says, Kirby Yates made his second All-Star game, wanted to keep him. You know, Kirby Yates was... he was a project for last year, right? When we got him, he was hurt and he was a project, and I always thought that he could definitely break out and do something. And unfortunately, we're seeing it in a different uniform this year. I would have loved for that to have paid off, but you know, just unfortunate that again he had to wait till 2024 to do it. I certainly wish he would have been able to do that in a Braves uniform. William Redmond says, "Is there one player you would want the Braves to trade for? Who would it be?" Oh, gosh. I have been of the opinion for a long time that the Braves should go out and get a starting pitcher. I don't really care who, but someone to cover not only this year but also next. I am starting to evolve more in the fact of we more than likely need a bat more, and that's because I look at where we are as a pitching staff. Schwellenbach really gave me some encouragement. Ian Anderson's on the way back. Another guy that I talked to today, A.J. Smith-Shawver, who, by the way, great kid. Great interview. Super humble. Here's what I'm going to say, though. I asked him, I was like, look, man, you pitched really good in your last start. You know, like, how do you feel, coming back now? You know, walk me through what happened and just all that. We talked about it all. And, I view him, out of all the guys we have for that fifth starter spot, your Schwellenbachs, your Ian Andersons, your A.J. Smith-Shawvers, your Alan Winans, Darius Vines, Dylan Dodds of the world, I view A.J. Smith-Shawver at the top of that list. And I think what happens is you let Schwellenbach once A.J. Smith-Shawver is healthy, you let Schwellenbach go as long as he can go with, until he gives you back-to-back negative starts. And I think Shawver would be the next in line. But even then, Schwellenbach could take off and make his own case. So it is what it is, right? Greeny says, don't we need bullpen? The bullpen's been really good this year. I definitely think you can always improve your bullpen. I'm never opposed to improving the bullpen. I think starting is more concerning for me because of what you're going to lose or what you could lose at the end of the season with Fried and Morton potentially being gone to free agency or retirement, whatever the case may be. I think with that, I would like to get a starting pitcher. Plus, you'd have another guy in your rotation to help you get to October. But you'd also have some backup if necessary for next year. So, in terms of bullpen versus starter, I go starter there, mainly for the ramifications of 2025 and beyond. Arnaldo Rodriguez, first time I believe you've ever commented, losing two great coaches in Ron Washington and Eric Young have also hurt this team. Their leadership, attention to detail, and confidence in the players were fundamental to the Braves' success. I don't disagree. I think the Braves coaching staff right now is doing a good job. Kevin Seitzer, for all intents and purposes, compared to this year or last year, you can do that all you want, but he's still the same guy, still the same philosophy. I think Walt Weiss is still the same guy, still the same philosophy. Of course, Snit is the same guy, same philosophy. Matt Tuiasosopo is a brave guy. He's been in the organization for quite a while. I think the staff is fine. It's tough to compare when you have a guy like Ron Washington on your staff who could have been a manager 5 years ago, and the fact that he wasn't was a joke. And I don't mean that for the Braves. I mean that for any team that interviewed him and didn't hire him. I think it's crazy. And I know he's gotten some criticism this year, but those critics are looking, are going to look stupid in a couple years. I believe that. Ron Washington, to implement change, you got to make change, and I think he's doing that over in Anaheim. Miguel Frica says the Braves team needs two outfielders who can make an impact, like Randy and Arozarena and Puig. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Randy would be more likely than Puig, obviously. But I think you may get one bat at the deadline because you already have quite a bit of outfielders on your staff. I mean, Kelenic and Duvall, you're not going to platoon them. You may platoon somebody with Duvey, but I don't think you're going to platoon both of them together. So it's tough. Zachary Alexander, can't sleep on Ian Anderson's return potential. I hear you. Here's what I would say, though. I need to see him covering innings, right? I think Ian could be very good. I've seen the stats, but I haven't seen him cover 4 to 5 innings yet. I need to see him cover some innings. It's been a long time since he's been away, and I don't mean it as a knock to him, but think about how long it took Michael Soroka to come back from that kind of absence. It just takes a while, and I don't know that he's going to be ready for the end of this year. I think it may be a next year project. I could be wrong. It's 2 different injuries. I'm not a doctor, nor am I a professional baseball pitcher. So I don't know, but I'm just hesitant to assume that he's going to be good to go. Only a couple more, guys. Corey Carter says an outfield bat and a righty and lefty reliever is what we need. Wouldn't hate it. I think that would be good. I still think we need a starter, and it doesn't have to be anybody great. I think Eric Fetty of the White Sox would be fine. I think Sonny Gray would be fine if we can get him. Anybody like just somebody to cover innings next year. Because next year, assuming you'll have Strider at some point during the season, you're going to get one of those guys back. But you enter the season next year with what we have right now. You enter it with Chris Sale and Reynaldo Lopez, and that's it. You will get Strider later that season, but that's pretty much it. You don't have a lot going on. How do I feel about Brent Rooker? We've done a lot of talks on that, Jeff. I think it's possible. I don't hate it. I don't want to give the A's my entire, life's work of prospects to make that happen. If you get Brent Rooker, I think you try to get Mason Miller in the same deal. Whether they do that or not, highly doubtful. But it'd be interesting. Mark Narmore says Nacho needs to be up. He's, of course, talking about Nacho down in AAA over Arcia. Here's the thing about Arcia. Say what you want about his bat. His glove is good. There's no denying that. And, the way I feel about it is, frankly, until the Braves don't want him, they're going to keep him there. And, if the Braves offense is rolling, they can afford to not have Arcia. It was the same thing last year. His bat was a little better, but it wasn't exactly standout. I know he was an all-star, I get it, but he fell off in the second half. We just didn't notice it because the Braves are putting up historic numbers as a team. So it is what it is. This is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. I got to go. I actually got to get to work, believe it or not. So I appreciate you tuning in. Wanted to jump in real quick tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Braves win a big series against Philadelphia. That's all you can ask for. They head to Arizona. We'll keep you covered here at On Deck. While you're here, though, please do like the video if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And hit the bell for notifications if you have not already.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.